everybody. Welcome again to another installment of Family Matters. We welcome you. We thank you for coming. This broadcast is presented to you by Gentleman's Quest of Tampa Bay. And we just want to thank you all again for tuning in again. Welcome yourselves. Say hello to everyone in the chat. Yes. Tell us how you're doing. And we just really want to dive in. So again, before we do that, we want to introduce ourselves. My name is Joshua.
I'm Georgia.
I'm Tim.
And I'm O'Neal.
And we are the Salmon family.
Whoop, whoop.
Now today we have a great topic for you guys. We want to speak concerning the topic of peer pressure.
Yes.
Something that I think all of us, no matter what age, no matter what place you're in life, deal with on a daily basis when you spend time with other people. We definitely want to talk about just how it affects us, how we go about it, and we have a couple different points for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started, Dad, if you want to start.
Yes.
Awesome. So listen, the reality is when it comes to peer pressure is we deal with it every day. Whether we're dealing with it at school or work or even at play. We deal with peer pressure in various settings, even social media today. And so, you know, whether we call it cyberbullying or other things in turn, it may take on different contexts. One of the things that I realize in part is that while we're subject to being exposed to peer pressure, we have to make choices. And we are still with the ability to make decisions on our own or off our own.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I realized right away, and perhaps somebody who's watching in turn is dealing with peer pressure right now, is you need to remember that at the end of the day, you've got to give yourself permission to avoid people that are negative in your life.
Yes, I agree.
You know, if it doesn't feel right, if it's something that you're questioning in turn, you know, perhaps there's something they're giving off in an aurora or a feeling in turn, it is okay to remove yourself from that situation, especially if it becomes uncomfortable. Might I suggest as well along the way, maybe perhaps setting up borders or boundaries. We can look at it in that light. Again, it's okay to do what you feel is best for you. So I think that's the first principle.
I'd say check in with yourself. Ask how you're feeling about this. Evaluate with yourself. Take that time that you need to see if every relationship that you're in, friendship that you're in, see if it's right for you. Does it seem right to me? Is it right timing? Is it the right relationship? Is it toxic? Is it healthy? Is it getting enough time? Is it just sitting in the back? You know, checking with yourself, checking with your peers as well. You know, see how their relationships are with you. Evaluate yourself. So
that's really good. Recognize when you're in an unhealthy dynamic. Unhealthy space, unhealthy relationship. You have to recognize it because other people may not recognize it. And another thing I was thinking about while we were sitting here, sometimes that peer pressure and that dynamic can even be in our home. Where we're allowing certain peer pressures because it feels like a joke when it's coming across, or it feels like the norm. Hey, this is how we've always been, but we don't realize that dynamic of a relationship is putting pressure on one person. So if you're feeling the pressure, you have to first recognize, is this environment, did I birth this? Did I put this in place? Did I cause this by agreeing with it? So identify it, and once you recognize that the dynamic is off, now decide what are you going to do about it.
So the next point that I think we should present is the idea of spending time with people who respect your decisions and won't put unfair pressures on you to conform.
Good. That is good.
I think that really just has to do again with evaluating who's in your circle. That's where it really starts, is the people that you spend your time with have an effect on you. I think that's, you know, a plain principle. The people that you spend your time with, the things that you spend your time doing, the circle that you put yourself in, the atmosphere that you put yourself in, they have an effect on you. So I think it's important that when you evaluate who you have, and I think it also goes with checking in on yourself, seeing also how you're growing as an individual, because you can only conform to things that you're weak to. So to a degree, if you know, you have to know where you are as an individual, know your temptations, know your battles, know the things that you're not the strongest concerning. And I think when you evaluate that and you're aware of who you are, then you're truly able to evaluate the people around you. Tim, how do you feel like in a practical way you go about evaluating the people around you, like even with school? Because I know with school sometimes you can't control exactly who you're with at all times.
Kind of just being around people that do the same stuff as me. You know, like being an athlete, I hang around a lot of my teammates during the school day or outside of school. So being around them, seeing how they are, kind of, since they have the same motive as me, if they do have the same motive as me, I grow to their friends and go out from there. You know, meeting new people every day, it's tough because you don't know what their background is or where they're coming from. So you kind of just got to evaluate when you first meet them and see how they're moving around, how they're acting, and see if their relationship with you can go any farther.
Wow. Yeah. So is it fair to say then, just asking you guys about the relationships you had, is it possible that getting into the relationship can add pressure as well?
Yeah. Oh,
like not being sure?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, sometimes, especially when I recollect us being their age and even younger in turn, you know, people would want to, and let's consider this as an example, people would want to pressure you into getting into certain relationships just because it was the norm, you know, and in turn, you know, sometimes again, I love what Joshua said, which was, you know, they often play on the weak, and it's often to the place that you're weak. And so if you're not an outspoken person, if you're not one to stand up for yourself, you know, hence it can feel debilitating, you know, like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know, you know, how to respond. That's why I think this is important.
It is.
But I also think it's important that we, like Tim said, you know, evaluate the people we have around us. You know, are they with the same objectives, the same mindset? And of course, you know, from there we can assess how close in proximity really we should be to them. That we may not be able to change how close they are to us in a matter of we have to work with you, but that doesn't mean I have to agree with everything you do.
That's right.
You know,
that's
I think
good.
that's important.
Wow. Very good.
I'll suggest this one as a point as well. You know, remember that you can't please everyone. I think it's important that that you take note of that. If you're hearing us when we say this, we're really saying at the end of the day is that we can't go around being people pleasers. Somebody's always going to be agnostic or against what we're saying or doing even. And so we have to be okay with not being accepted by every crowd or accepted in every room we walk into. You know, I think sometimes we're trying to, if we're not careful, we're ready to conform to what everybody else is doing and be in, and we have to be okay with being ourselves.
If you don't mind me adding on to that too, I think it's important to know that not only are we enabled to please everyone, but we also don't have to. And I think that a lot of people see the inability as a weakness.
That's good.
You're not able to please everyone. You're not able to get everything done that everyone wants, to be there for everyone. I know last week we talked about grief and the idea that when you're going through situations on your own, the truth of the matter is sometimes you're dealing with it, and there's a lot of different stages to it. And even in that moment, you can't be there for everyone. You can't sometimes answer every text. I haven't been able to answer every text, answer every phone call because you're battling with yourself. But the key is that you do not have to. At the end of the day, when it comes to even especially peer pressure, and not all peer pressure is bad. Let's make that very clear. Some peer pressures are pressures from people that want to see you excel. Exactly. But at the same time, not everyone recognizes that your excelling and your process that you're going to go through may not be the same as theirs. It may not be as fast. It may not be as slow. So while others are maybe even trying to help you, the truth of the matter is you don't have to respond to every single thing because you're on your own process as well. I think the beauty about life is that we're all on our own processes. But as we go through them, as we go down our trials and tribulations and different stuff like that, we meet at different points that allows us to connect. So just trust that process and don't feel the pressure to feel like you have to be on someone's exact timing for your life.
That's good.
And before Tim goes, I want to put this disclaimer out there. Mommy peer pressure to wash dishes, to clean your room, to do your laundry, that's the good peer pressure he's talking about. Okay, moving on.
By the way, folks, before Tim comes, just want to make sure you know this off the bat. Go ahead. If anything we're saying in part is adding value to your life, to your family's life, go ahead and make us a note in the comment section. We want to hear from you. Perhaps you have faced a peer pressure or two, and you want to comment and make us aware as to how you handle it. Please let us know. We are so welcoming to that as well.
I kind of want to go back to the last point that we were talking about when you're dealing with pleasing everyone. There's a term that's going around in our generation. I don't know if it's in you guys' generation, but called haters. How you deal with those haters? I just want to see how you guys manage that. How you guys, being pastors, being in high school, about to go to college.
That's a good.
Ask you guys how you all have deal with those over the years.
Wow. For me, I don't remember the term haters back when I was coming up. It wasn't that long ago, just a few years. But now I hear the term. Whatever. See this peer pressure I'm feeling? Now I do hear the term, but being more mature, I'm actually accepting the haters. Like, I feel like it's a part of the process to being better. There are going to always be people that envy you or don't really care for where you're going. So you have to kind of embrace the opinions of others, the feelings of others, and know what you need to ignore, what you need to accept, while not letting it stop you from where you're going. So.
And I think for me, you know, what I realize is that most people who are quote unquote haters, they're not doing as much as you are.
That's true.
So, you know, in a lot of ways, they have a whole lot of time to even evaluate and recognize how much you're doing. I'm too busy to really give thought to who doesn't like me and, you know, why they have this opinion of me. You know, more often the people that are headed in the direction you're going and even at the pace that you're going or perhaps ahead of you, they don't have time to be looking all the while in the rear view mirror as to who's coming behind them. So, you know, I think you got to stay focused and stay steady your course. You know, at the end of the day, who's meant to be there with you will come along for the ride, and you know, or they'll be left behind if they're not meant to be there.
When you can't avoid people around you that are applying pressure, it is very important that you get comfortable with saying no.
Oh yeah, big lesson.
No thanks. No, I can't do. No, that's not for me. Be okay and confident enough in yourself to tell people no when that pressure is invading your peace. Ooh. Wow. Just be okay with it. And a lot of times we grow up and we are raised, some of us are challenged with saying no to others because we become people pleasers, or we're just natural nurturers that want to help serve other people. But there are times where that pressure can lead you in the wrong direction, and you have to be okay from your heart with just saying no to, again, save yourself and keep your peace.
So the next one that we have is to take a friend who supports you along if you are going to be in a pressure-filled situation. I think it's very important, like we talked about, once you go through the process of getting to know yourself and then evaluating who's around you, trusting in those people to really be there for you. I think a lot of times, especially today, we try to maneuver through life kind of by ourselves out of fear, especially if you've gone through things in life with trust and different stuff like that. Sometimes we try to maneuver through life in fear of just being hurt. You know what I'm saying? In fear of being let down, in fear of having things that you didn't expect happen. And I think it's very important that when we have those people who are willing to be in our lives and who are willing to help us fight this battle that life can sometimes be, keeping them around and just bringing them with us to certain things, especially when you know the things that you battle with. So Tim, for example, you talk about the idea of being in high school and having people like your basketball teammates with you, you know, as your friends. I think it's important that even in the simplest things, a lot of times when we think about peer pressure, we think about big things that can really affect us. But sometimes it's just, say, the pressure of, oh, hey, I'm about to go hang out with these people and they're not on the same diet that I'm on as an athlete. And sometimes I get hungry and I'm like, you know what, I want to eat what they're eating. So having other athletes around you where it's like, nah, we're not going to eat this. You know what I'm saying? It's simple stuff like that happens each and every day. And sometimes I think we equate peer pressure to drugs, money, all these different things that can really affect us. But the truth of the matter is we deal with it on the most simplest things.
I mean, if you look at the fact that so much of our environment today is commercialized, and we're always being told to buy this, buy that, you know, enjoy this, enjoy that, and if you don't have this, then you're not complete. You know, it's important to, first of all, censor in a lot of ways what you expose your eyes to or your ears to, you know, because all of that is always speaking to what we lack versus what we do have actually working for us. But you also suggest, and I love the fact that you pointed again to something Timothy said with respect to his basketball team and being around athletes that have the same motivation. I think for all of us, we would regard that we need to corral people around us that, again, support who we are and perhaps even share some of the same struggles, some of the same challenges, because then we can become very sensitive to each other. Oh, okay, I know what it feels like to have lived that life because I myself am living it, or I've been there, you know, and that makes for a great support group. All right, so folks, listen, we've got probably one maybe 2 more, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Just want to make sure you understand that we love all the ability, or rather the ability to communicate with you on week to week,
Yes.
but we enjoy the more hearing from you and what you're receiving out of this. So don't forget to leave your comments along the way.
That's right.
All right, so here's what you need to know. That peer pressure at the end of the day, we're not saying it's easy. We're not saying by any measure, especially the more difficult ones, the ones that take us out of who we are. But at the end of the day, we want you to be empowered to deal with it,
Yes.
and at least feel that you are equipped to try. And so let me suggest this, that, you understand, like I said, you have a choice in the initial, beginning of all this. I said, you have a choice, but you, with that choice, have to stand up. Every now and then, you're going to have to say, like my wife said, you're going to have to say no. You're going to have to voice your opinion. It's not going to always be received by everyone, but undoubtedly, that's where your power is, your ability to speak up for yourself.
Wow.
All right.
That's good.
Anyone want to go at the last?
Yeah, I'll jump in the last. The last one we want to share with you is when you are yourself overwhelmed and you can't use any of these tips that we've given you to kind of maneuver your way out or get out of the situation, ask for help.
Absolutely.
Ask for support, whether it's from your family, your parents, a teacher, a mentor, a pastor, a leader, someone that can help you maneuver through the pressures of life. Pressures feel like, or make you feel like you're being squeezed in. And sometimes we need accountability partners, aunties, uncles, whomever you trust that can help you move your way out of that place that feels pressured, because you don't have to stay there. You do not have to stay there. So that's my encouragement. Just again, ask for help when you by yourself don't feel like you can use what we're sharing with you at this moment.
And listen, if you don't have anyone to talk to, guess what? You have your Family Matters family here.
Yes.
So make sure that you like this video, make sure that you comment, make sure that you subscribe. That way you can come back to these videos anytime that you just need a little encouragement from the Salmon family here. Listen, we thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We appreciate you all. We love you all. And we pray that all of you are safe during this pandemic, during this time. We just want you all to know that you have a family here. And guess what? We'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much.
Bye. Thank you.